Okay guys, I'm back here with Dr. Kerby and we're going through some questions that we've gotten online. In the last video that we talked about, when we talked about fascia and fascial adhesions, you brought up another kind of adhesion that can be causing muscle tightness. What was that?
These are what we call C-fiber adhesions. They are most abundant along your periosteum. What's periosteum? It's the felty bone covering. It's kind of like how my shirt look like a little bit like this. They'll sit on the top of the bone. They get exposed the most on impact injuries. When you get a blow into the body, a cut, a broken bone, a bone bruise, anything where you feel that damage go, where you're like, whoa, that went into my bone. That's the one we're looking at. If you get hit by a boat, did you ever feel that?
I felt a little bit in my bones when I got hit by a boat. Yeah, so I had some impacts from getting hit by a boat. And in the last video, we talked about how we went through my whole myofascial system and John released all of the fascia, but that is the outer layer. But then I still had muscle tightness and pain. And so we had to go deeper into the periosteum.
Yep. And this one, so the whole skeletal system, when I'm palpating someone, the biggest thing I learn over patient to patient is how do I differentiate the layers and why is there the muscle tightening around it? The muscles act as a guardian is what I found out. When there's tightness, and you can have this like, man, my shoulder tightness never goes away. My quad tightness, my IT band tightness. Well, that's when we begin to dissect this out, and the major part of finding that is all the way down to the bone. Those C fibers sense and will tell and send a relay back to the brain and say, hold and guard, hold and guard. So I have to go down all the way to the bone and peel those C fibers free. It's super comfortable, right? Maybe not, but it can be a little bit uncomfortable, but that's why we have machines in the office to make it easier. But the result is amazing and instant, where you'll get blood flow right away. Like heat will come off of it, range of motion, and the muscle relax. Even you experience a down regulation in your whole nervous system. Explain that. So go into the sympathetics of how you went out of sympathetic, because when the C fibers engage, you stay in fight or flight.
So let's back up just a second and define C fibers for me. I'm confused.
So C fibers, they're just like terminal endpoints of the fiber. So if the branch comes...
Nerve fibers?
You have nerve fibers. So if it's going to start from the brain and go down through the neck, out the neck, and then so the main trunk comes here. Well, there'll be ones that go into the bone, so they sense what's going on. They're there to feel like, what's going on out there? What's going on? They're very sensitive ones for your spatial awareness and what's pressure sensitive ones. So that's why they do not like to be hit into and slammed into, and that keeps them in a frozen fight or flight state, because when you break a bone, they need to do that to save your life so you don't bleed out. And they're caught in that state like when you got hit by a boat.
Right. So those C fibers innervate the periosteum, which is the bone covering, and anywhere that you've had a broken bone, like where my legs were broken, the periosteum is caught in that protective state that sends a message up the C fibers to keep you in fight or flight, correct?
Yes.
And so when John released the periosteum, so very deep down on the covering on the bone, so deep work, when that released, I had an immediate downregulation of my sympathetic nervous system. I was able to find more of a relaxed state all the time, and that was just a realization of that some of your mental state is not just caused by your brain or your mind or your emotions. It can be actually caught in your physical, in your body. So that was a big thing, that if people with a lot of old impact injuries or old broken bones find themselves in an upregulated state where you're more in a fight or flight state more of the time than you're in the relaxed state. And that can be like the secret to getting you out of that state.
Yeah, I think in layman's terms, you're just saying based on anxiety or just this sense of something's not right. If you're confused by what upregulation, downregulation, sympathetic, a lot of people understand that, but it's just anxiety. Your anxiety can be from old injuries where the brain thinks it's still in that, so it has to stay in an anxious place.
Yeah, and that explains C fibers.
Yeah.
Okay.